Pakistan's Prime Minister Imran Khan has been ousted from power after losing a no-confidence vote in his leadership. The vote was held past midnight on Sunday morning after opposition parties brought a motion against him, which was upheld by the Supreme Court. The Assembly will now appoint a new Prime Minister. That person will be able to hold power until October 2023, when the next election is due to be held. Khan becomes the first Pakistani Prime Minister to be ousted by a no-confidence vote. But the new government has its work cut out, as poverty, inflation and foreign debt remain huge problems, issues Imran Khan failed to resolve. It remains to be seen if this gathering of various parties united against Imran Khan can resolve Pakistan's endemic problems. Western outrage intensified this week as Ukrainian authorities released photos and videos showing corpses lying on the streets of the town of Bucha near Kiev after Russian forces left the area. Europe, along with Kiev, called what happened there a genocide and called for more sanctions to be imposed on Russia. The images of handcuffed corpses lying face down in the streets and hastily dug graves in Bucha sent shockwaves around the world. Russia's invasion of Ukraine continues to grind on as a swift victory is now out of reach. Russia will need to resort to extreme actions in order to force the Ukrainians to capitulate. Israel and the UAE have concluded negotiations for a free trade agreement. After formally establishing ties in 2020, the agreement will include 95% of traded products, which would be customs-free and will include food, agriculture and cosmetic products, as well as medical equipment and medicine. The UAE's Minister of State for Foreign Trade, Thani Al-Zayudi, said on Twitter, "This milestone deal will build on the historic Abraham Accords and cement one of the world's most important and promising emerging trading relationships." Palestinian officials have accused countries that moved to normalize relations with Israel last year of being complicit with Israeli occupation. This is a major achievement for Israel, who spent decades trying to normalize its presence in the region. Free trade deals represents a huge move as it implicitly recognizes Israel's legitimacy if nations trade with it. In a testimony before a House panel, Joint Chiefs of Staff Chairman General Mark Milley said that Russia's invasion of Ukraine is the last indication that the world is rapidly becoming more unstable, making the prospect of a major conflict between the US and other great powers more likely. General Milley told the House Armed Services Committee,
"We are now facing two global powers, China and Russia, each with significant military capabilities, both of whom intend to fundamentally change the current rules-based global order. We are entering a world that is becoming more unstable, and the potential for significant international conflict between great powers is increasing, not decreasing."
The Pentagon plans to boost the US military's presence in Asia Pacific to counter China and in Eastern Europe to face Russia. While done in the name of deterrence, US military buildups in the region will only make conflict more likely. 1 million Afghan children may die from starvation over the next several months, according to the United Nations. This mass hunger has rendered millions of Afghans on the verge of death, according to UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres. But whilst many may assume this is due to the Taliban takeover of the country in August 2021, it is actually the result of a man-made humanitarian catastrophe and US-made specifically. Experts have noted more Afghans are poised to die from US sanctions over the next few months alone than have died at the hands of the Taliban and the US military forces over the last 20 years combined, by a significant margin. Journalist Murtaza Hussain outlined US establishment politicians and intellectuals who decried the humanitarian crisis during the fall of Kabul as seemingly unbothered by imminent mass starvation imposed by the US.